The reason we're here is because of the long, prolonged, toxic flaring incident that started on May 5th at the Valero refinery when PG&E cut off the power to the refinery, and the refinery went into a massive flaring episode that lasted for weeks. And so one of the things that has come to light is that, over time, in Contra Costa County, dealing with the fact that they have 4 refineries, people over here in Benicia began to say, why don't we have the same kind of protections and information that the people in Richmond and Contra Costa County have as a result of their industrial safety ordinance? So I'd like to say at the outset that, this is a community initiative. This was a community-based organizing that brought this forum together. And it's going to be the community organized, putting pressure on our elected officials that's going to make this ISO a reality and provide protections in Benicia that we deserve.
We do issue monetary citations. I always tell people that when you're dealing with refineries, monetary citations, $1 million citation is really kind of nothing, I hate to say. It's really the abatement that you get for violations. So some abatements, like one particular refinery in Richmond, was somewhere a little over $35 million. It was far well beyond what the penalty was, and it ensured health and safety of workers and subsequently the community. I think I'm good. Yeah. They also have to have employee participation, which you talked about, in that, so employees participate in that and have a voice in that. Yeah. So I think.
And when we started working on, what is it that we can do as a state to try to prevent, and also, if something does occur, to try to respond more effectively, and also what can we do to better communicate about these issues? And so it was there are recommendations in here from improving air monitoring, which I'm very pleased to say is moving forward. So we will have, we can look forward to, in the not too distant future, having really state-of-the-art air monitoring around all of our California refineries. I'm really optimistic that this is on the right track. And we have a success to report around the recently completed safety and prevention regulations that just came into effect on October 1st. We started work on those regulations back in 2014, and so you get a sense of how difficult and complicated an issue it was. It took from 2014 till the middle of 2017 to get those across the finish line. And they were largely based on the regulations that Contra Costa County has in place. So in other words, the Industrial Safety Ordinance in Contra Costa, which Randy Sawyer will be talking about in a moment. Everything inside the fence line is Cal OSHA's responsibility in terms of worker protection. But protecting the community actually falls directly to the unified programs. So these county, or in some cases city agencies, but here it's the county agency. And so that's sort of the way the California structure works. And then we oversee that, but we don't directly have responsibility. In fact, the responsibility goes to a whole different agency, which is the Office of Emergency Services. And they were the ones who actually finalized these regulations.
As a follow-up, how long does it typically take you to modify your regulations in response to these lessons learned, as opposed to, for example, the state regulatory process, which can take years after legislation?
Well, it's definitely quicker than it was for the state. But we weren't starting exactly from fresh. I think when the original industrial safety ordinance, it did take some time, and there were some bumps and stuff in the road, and there was some changes made, and before the final ordinance were propagated. But we can usually make a change within 6 months to a year within a county. We work with the different stakeholders and putting the requirements together. I think the longest is working for the county council, getting things done through the county council more than anything else. There's more requirements for public meetings and stuff, and So there's extra time that's involved. So we charge a fee for the industrial safety ordinance. The other fee to look at the alerting system and to do other enforcement is under the California Accident Lease Prevention Program fees, which we also charge refineries and other facilities. And so that really goes to, and also the business plan fees actually help pay for the warning system we have in the county. They pay for maintenance of it. Actually, when it was actually built, it was paid for by industry and through Contra Costa County Care Group, Inc. And they collected money, they ran the project, and then they gave it to the county, and ongoing maintenance of it is done through fees for the business plan program. We do have public meetings after incidents specifically. We also have public interface after we finish an audit of a facility. We'll go and share our audit results, notification policy under the county, which asks for the report within 72 hours. So they gave us a report within 72 hours, and then 30-day updates after that till the final report is complete.
And if there's one thing you hear, whether you talk to community leaders and residents, or whether you talk to a labor union, or you talk to a refinery or a consultant in this field, even though they all come from different perspectives, you will hear them say one thing: refineries are safer in Contra Costa County as a result of this ordinance, and major chemical accident releases have gone down as a result. Refineries, labor unions, community, government, consultants will all agree on that. They may not agree on some other things, but they agree on that. And we also have a very transparent process with the public. For example, after the Chevron fire, Randy talked about the safety assessment that we did. We established an oversight committee for that include representatives from the community, from the building trades, and from the refinery, because we wanted to make sure that the selection of the consultant, for that safety assessment and how they carried it out was viewed fairly by everybody, by the workers, by the refinery, and by the community. And so I think not that there hasn't been disagreement along the way. There is, but the fact that everyone's sitting down at a table and talking to each other is important. And we go out and we try to hire the best, and we do, the best chemical engineers we can get, because we want to have chemical engineers on our staff who are as good as the chemical engineers working at the refineries, right? If we're going to be in there inspecting, doing working on a root cause analysis, working with the refinery, we want to have the best trained folks. So the result of it has been, as I said, safer facilities, a better working relationship, and the ability to respond in a quick way to improve the ordinance if we learn something, right? That's important, because this is a changing field. We're always going to learn new stuff, and best practices are going to change, and we want to be on top of all of that and remain the best, strongest ordinance, because it keeps the community safe, keeps the workers safe, and ultimately the refineries in Contra Costa know if they have less accidents, that's better for them.
Just to add, I think the thing that we're moving towards in this area is more real-time reporting of chemical concentrations, especially for certain chemicals that can be measured in real time. And so some of the refineries already have that, but that's something we're aiming for statewide right now. And we're sort of talking about concentric circles about refinery monitoring. So there will be refineries on the facility grounds, on some of the, within the refinery, some of which may be, wearable monitors or monitors that the workers have that they can be measuring and moving around, and others will be stationary within the facility. Then there'll be fence line monitoring. And then there'll be monitors out in the community with a focus on sensitive sites, schools or anything like that, and sites that are downwind. And then the enhanced capacity for mobile monitoring, so that resources can move quickly into the area if something happens. And so this whole set of monitoring, it's not just like one monitor. It's like a series of concentric circles. We call it the wedding cake of monitors.
When you have a power outage like what Valero had, okay, it was an immediate loss of power. Okay, you have units that are starting to overpressure. You have temperatures increasing, and the only safety device that refinery has is a flare system. Okay, that is exactly what they did. They went to the flare. Now, I don't really think people kind of argue that so much. What concerns me more in sitting here tonight is that, refineries need to be partners with their community. They need to be transparent with their community. They need to share, if they have incidents, they need to share those incidents, they need to share those causes, and they need to share those recommendations. Okay, that is what a good steward of a community does. They don't put out, one-page ads about the mayor. Okay, it's okay. So that being said, is Valero Refinery based on our criteria for worker health and safety? Their two facilities are considered the safest refineries and a model for refineries in the state. But again, that being said, okay. But again, that being said, there needs to be some communication with the community, and there has to be, they have to be transparent. If you are going to be a VPP facility, then you need to learn to be transparent with your community.
So folks shouldn't, this discussion I think is very healthy about an industrial safety ordinance, because the community is searching for how do we make our facilities safer, because we all have a right to that. The refinery saying, okay, we want to be a safe partner with the community. And so there needs to be this important dialogue with each other. And I think that is what's going to achieve safety, the greatest amount of safety in a community for the workers as well as for the community. So I think this is a healthy debate. I think this is great. And I don't think folks should get criticized for raising this issue and saying, we're talking about this. And we're trying to weigh, is it better to have the state? Is it better to have the local? Who's better to implement them? That's at the key of this.
But we want to thank all of them for showing up here in Benicia tonight. Clyde Trombetas from Cal OSHA, Gina Solomon from Cal EPA, Randy Sawyer from Contra Costa County, Kirill, and Supervisor John Joya. Thank you for participating in this. And the answer is we need to make the city council put this on the agenda to vote it up or down. Thank you.